Trusting life even when it hurts. Finding strength and meaning in difficult moments. By T.M. Light. Description: This powerful book is a deeply inspiring and motivational guide for anyone navigating pain, loss, and emotional challenges. It explores how to build resilience, embrace healing, and find purpose even in life's hardest moments. It offers practical insights on emotional strength, self-growth, and trusting the journey despite uncertainty. Perfect for readers seeking hope, clarity, and inner peace, this book shows how difficult experiences can lead to transformation. Discover how to overcome adversity, reconnect with yourself, and create a meaningful life, even when everything feels uncertain. Chapter Outline. Introduction: When life doesn't make sense. Chapter 1. Understanding pain as part of the human experience. Chapter 2. The emotional impact of difficult moments. Chapter 3. Why we struggle to trust life. Chapter 4. Letting go of control. Chapter 5. Finding meaning in painful experiences. Chapter 6. Building emotional strength through adversity. Chapter 7. Trusting the process, even without answers. Chapter 8. Healing without rushing the process. Chapter 9. Finding peace in the present moment. Chapter 10. Rebuilding yourself after pain. Conclusion: Trusting life again. Introduction: When life doesn't make sense. There are moments in life that arrive without warning, without explanation, and without mercy. Moments that stop you in your tracks and make you question everything you thought you understood. Pain has a way of doing that. It interrupts the flow of your plans, challenges your sense of control, and forces you to confront a reality you were not prepared for. Whether it comes in the form of loss, disappointment, heartbreak, or unexpected hardship, pain is something no one escapes. It does not ask if you are ready. It does not wait for the perfect time. It simply arrives, often when life seemed stable, when things felt certain, when you thought you had everything figured out. And in that moment, everything changes. This is the reality of being human. Life is not made up of only joyful experiences or smooth paths. It is a mixture of light and darkness, certainty and confusion, gain and loss. Yet despite this truth, many of us grow up believing, consciously or unconsciously, that life should make sense, that it should be fair, and that if we do the right things we will be spared from deep pain. So when hardship comes, it feels not only difficult, but deeply unfair. You may find yourself asking questions that seem to have no answers. Why did this happen? Why now? Why me? These questions are natural. They come from a place of trying to make sense of something that feels senseless. They reflect your need for understanding, for order, for reassurance that life is still something you can grasp. But difficult moments often do not come with clear explanations. They do not always fit into a logical narrative. They can feel overwhelming because they disrupt your sense of stability and challenge your expectations of how life should unfold. In these moments, the emotional weight can be heavy. You may feel lost, as though the ground beneath you has shifted. You may feel uncertain about the future, unsure of how to move forward, or even unsure of who you are in the midst of what you are experiencing. Pain has a way of doing that. It does not just affect your circumstances, it affects your sense of self. It is important to understand that this response is deeply human. You are not weak for feeling overwhelmed. You are not failing because you are struggling to cope. You are responding to something that is genuinely difficult, something that challenges your emotional and mental strength. At the core of this struggle is a natural resistance to suffering. As human beings, we are wired to seek comfort, safety, and happiness. We avoid pain whenever possible. We try to fix it, to escape it, or to make it go away as quickly as we can. This instinct is not wrong. It is part of how we protect ourselves. But not all pain can be avoided. Not all hardship can be solved immediately. And when you encounter situations that cannot be changed or fixed right away, this resistance can actually deepen your suffering. The more you fight against what is happening, the more tension you create within yourself. This is where a powerful shift begins to emerge. What if, instead of resisting every painful moment, you could learn to approach it differently? What if you could find a way to remain grounded, even when life does not make sense? This is where the idea of trusting life comes in. Trusting life does not mean that you enjoy pain or that you stop wishing things were different. It does not mean you accept injustice or stop striving for better. It means something deeper. It means choosing to believe that even in the midst of difficulty, there is something unfolding that you may not yet fully understand. It is the willingness to let go of the need to have all the answers immediately. It is the courage to sit with uncertainty, to feel what you are feeling, and to continue moving forward even when the path is unclear. Trusting life is not about having certainty, it is about developing resilience. When you begin to trust life, you shift your perspective. You stop asking only, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin to ask, "What can this experience teach me?" You move from resistance to awareness, from frustration to curiosity. You allow yourself to be shaped by your experiences, rather than defined by them. This does not happen overnight. It is a process, one that requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to grow through discomfort. There will be moments when trust feels difficult, when doubt returns, when the pain feels too heavy to carry. But even in those moments, the possibility of trust remains. This book is an invitation to explore that possibility. It is not a promise that pain will disappear, or that life will suddenly make perfect sense. Instead, it offers a different kind of strength, the kind that allows you to navigate difficulty with greater clarity, to find meaning in moments that feel empty, and to build resilience in the face of uncertainty. As you move through these chapters, you will begin to understand that pain, while difficult, is not meaningless. You will see how your experiences, even the most challenging ones, can contribute to your growth. You will learn how to sit with your emotions without being overwhelmed by them, and how to move forward without rushing your healing. You will also begin to develop a deeper sense of trust, not in the idea that everything will always go your way, but in your ability to handle what comes. In your ability to grow, to adapt, and to find your way through even the most difficult moments. This is the strength that comes from trusting life. It is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. It allows you to stand firm, even when everything around you feels uncertain. It gives you the courage to continue, even when you do not have all the answers. Life may not always make sense. There will be moments that challenge you, that test you, that push you beyond what you thought you could handle. But within those moments lies an opportunity, not to avoid pain but to transform through it. As you begin this journey, remember that you are not alone in your experience. Pain is a shared part of being human. And within that shared experience lies a connection, a reminder that others have walked similar paths and have found their way forward. You have that ability too. This is your invitation to begin seeing your life differently. To move from resistance to trust, from confusion to understanding, from pain to growth. Not because everything will become easy, but because you will become stronger. And in that strength, you will begin to find something unexpected, a sense of meaning even in the moments that once felt impossible to understand. Chapter 1: Understanding Pain as Part of the Human Experience. Pain is one of the few experiences that connects every human being, regardless of background, status, or circumstance. It does not discriminate. It does not choose only the weak or spare only the strong. It touches everyone in different ways, at different times, and often when it is least expected. Yet despite how universal it is, pain remains something we struggle to accept. From an early age, many of us are taught, directly or indirectly, that life should feel good most of the time. We are encouraged to pursue happiness, to avoid discomfort, and to fix anything that causes us pain as quickly as possible. While there is nothing wrong with seeking joy and well-being, this belief can create an unrealistic expectation. It can make us feel as though pain is something abnormal, something that should not exist in our lives. But the truth is, suffering is not a mistake in life's design. It is a part of it. Life is made up of contrast. Just as there is joy, there is sorrow. Just as there is gain, there is loss. Just as there is connection, there is separation. These experiences do not cancel each other out, they coexist. And it is within this coexistence that life takes on its full depth and meaning. When you begin to understand that suffering is unavoidable, something shifts within you. Pain no longer feels like an interruption of life, it becomes part of the journey itself. This does not make it easier in the moment, but it changes how you relate to it. Instead of asking why pain exists, you begin to ask how you can move through it. One of the most powerful realizations you can have is that you are not alone in your pain. Even when your experience feels deeply personal, even when it seems like no one else could possibly understand what you are going through, there is a shared human experience beneath it all. Every person you meet has faced or will face their own form of struggle. Some carry visible burdens, while others carry silent ones. Some express their pain openly, while others hide it behind smiles and routines. But it is there, woven into the fabric of every life. This shared nature of pain does not diminish your experience. It does not make your struggles less significant. Instead, it connects you to something larger. It reminds you that what you are feeling, as difficult as it may be, is part of being human. There is a certain comfort in this understanding. It softens the isolation that pain often brings. It allows you to see that you are not uniquely broken or alone in your suffering. You are part of a collective experience, one that has been felt by countless others before you, and will be felt by others after you. Pain in all its forms is a teacher. It reveals aspects of yourself that you may not have discovered otherwise. It challenges your assumptions, tests your resilience, and invites you to grow in ways that comfort never could. This becomes even more evident when you begin to understand the connection between emotional and physical pain. While they may seem different on the surface, they are deeply interconnected. Emotional pain can manifest physically, creating tension, fatigue, or discomfort in the body. Physical pain in turn can affect your emotional state, leading to frustration, sadness, or anxiety. Your mind and body are not separate entities. They work together, influencing and responding to each other. When you experience emotional pain, your body reacts. When your body is under stress, your mind responds. This connection highlights how deeply pain is embedded in your overall experience of life. Understanding this connection allows you to approach pain more holistically. Instead of seeing it as something isolated, you begin to recognize its broader impact. You learn to listen to your body, to acknowledge your emotions, and to treat yourself with greater care and awareness. At the heart of many struggles with pain is the belief that life should always feel good. This belief, while comforting in theory, can create resistance in practice. When pain arises, it feels like something has gone wrong. You may try to push it away, to ignore it, or to replace it with something more pleasant. But resisting pain often intensifies it. The more you fight against what you are feeling, the more tension you create within yourself. You may find yourself stuck in a cycle of avoidance, where the pain never fully resolves because it is never fully acknowledged. Letting go of the belief that life should always feel good is not about embracing negativity. It is about embracing reality. It is about recognizing that life includes both joy and pain, and that both have a place in your experience. When you release this expectation, you create space for acceptance. You allow yourself to feel what you are feeling without judgment. You stop labeling your emotions as good or bad, and instead begin to see them as part of your journey. Acceptance does not mean you enjoy pain or stop seeking better experiences. It means you stop fighting against what is already present. It means you acknowledge your reality as it is, rather than as you wish it to be. This shift is powerful because it reduces unnecessary suffering. Pain is difficult on its own, but resistance adds another layer. When you accept pain, you remove that additional layer, allowing yourself to process and move through the experience more freely. At the same time, acceptance does not mean losing hope. This is an important distinction. Accepting pain does not mean believing that things will never improve, or that you are stuck in your current situation forever. It means recognizing that this moment, as it is part of your journey, and that it does not define your entire future. Hope is what allows you to move forward, even when things are difficult. It is the belief that change is possible, that growth can occur, and that your current experience is not the final chapter of your story. Holding both acceptance and hope at the same time is a delicate balance. It requires you to acknowledge your present reality, while also believing in the possibility of something more. It asks you to be honest about your pain, without becoming consumed by it. This balance is where true strength begins to develop. As you learn to understand pain as part of the human experience, you begin to approach it differently. You stop seeing it as an enemy to be defeated, and start seeing it as a part of life to be understood. You become more compassionate with yourself, more patient with your process, and more open to the lessons that your experiences can offer. You realize that pain, while uncomfortable, is not meaningless. It has the potential to deepen your understanding, to strengthen your resilience, and to connect you more fully to yourself and others. This does not mean that every painful experience will immediately reveal its purpose. Some lessons take time to unfold. Some meanings become clear only in hindsight. But when you trust that your experiences are contributing to your growth, even in ways you cannot yet see, you begin to move through life with a different kind of awareness. You become less afraid of pain, not because it no longer hurts, but because you understand that it is part of something larger. You begin to see that within every difficult moment lies the potential for transformation. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to recognize your own strength. Not the kind that avoids pain, but the kind that faces it. The kind that feels deeply, processes honestly, and continues forward with courage. Pain is not a sign that something is wrong with your life. It is a sign that you are living it. And within that truth lies the beginning of something powerful, a deeper understanding of yourself, a greater connection to others, and a strength that can carry you through even the most difficult moments. Chapter 2: The Emotional Impact of Difficult Moments. When life becomes difficult, the impact is not only external, it reaches deep into your inner world. Pain does not just change your circumstances, it changes how you think, how you feel, and how you see everything around you. It touches your emotions in ways that can feel overwhelming, confusing, and at times even frightening. In moments of hardship, your mind and emotions enter unfamiliar territory. Thoughts may become heavier, more uncertain. You may find yourself replaying events, questioning decisions, or searching for meaning in something that does not yet make sense. Emotionally, what once felt stable can suddenly feel unpredictable. One moment you may feel strong, and the next you may feel completely undone. This is the emotional impact of difficult moments. It is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that something significant has happened, something that requires your attention, your processing, and your care. Pain affects the mind by disrupting its sense of order. The human mind naturally seeks understanding. It wants to make sense of what is happening, to create a narrative that feels logical and complete. But when something painful occurs, especially something unexpected, that sense of order is challenged. You are left with questions that may not have immediate answers, and this uncertainty can create mental strain. Your emotions, in turn, respond to this disruption. They rise, sometimes suddenly, sometimes gradually, reflecting the depth of what you are experiencing. These emotions are not random. They are part of your mind's way of processing what has happened. They are signals, guiding you through your experience, even if they feel uncomfortable. There are common emotional responses that many people experience during difficult moments. Denial is often one of the first. It is a protective response, a way for your mind to shield you from the full impact of what has happened. You may find yourself thinking that it is not real, that things will go back to how they were, that this is only temporary. Denial is not weakness, it is a natural buffer that gives you time to adjust. As reality begins to settle in, other emotions may follow. Anger can emerge, sometimes directed outward, sometimes inward. You may feel frustrated at the situation, at others, or even at yourself. You may question why things unfolded the way they did, feeling a sense of injustice or helplessness. Anger, while intense, is often rooted in deeper emotions, such as hurt or fear. Confusion is another common response. When life does not make sense, your mind struggles to find clarity. You may feel disoriented, unsure of what to think or how to move forward. Decisions that once felt simple may now feel overwhelming. This confusion is not a failure of your ability to cope. It is a reflection of the complexity of what you are experiencing. Sadness often follows, bringing with it a sense of heaviness. It may come in waves, sometimes quiet, sometimes intense. It may feel like a weight that is difficult to lift, a reminder of what has been lost or changed. Sadness is one of the most honest emotions you can experience. It reflects your capacity to care, to connect, and to feel deeply. These emotional responses are not linear. They do not follow a set order, and they do not arrive at predictable times. You may experience them all at once, or move between them repeatedly. This unpredictability can make the process feel even more challenging, as if you are navigating something without a clear path. During this time, it is common to feel lost and disconnected. The world around you may continue as usual, but your internal experience feels completely different. You may feel as though you are no longer fully present, as if you are observing life rather than participating in it. This sense of disconnection can be isolating, making it difficult to relate to others or to find comfort in familiar routines. You may also feel disconnected from yourself. The person you were before the difficult moment may feel distant. Your sense of identity may shift, leaving you unsure of who you are or what you need. This can be one of the most unsettling aspects of hardship, because it affects not just your circumstances but your sense of self. In these moments, it is important to understand that feeling lost is not a permanent state. It is part of the process of navigating change. When something significant happens, it creates a gap between what was and what is. It takes time to bridge that gap, to find your footing again, and to rebuild your sense of direction. One of the most important things you can do during this time is to allow yourself to feel. This may sound simple, but it is often one of the most difficult steps. There is a natural tendency to avoid pain, to distract yourself, to push emotions aside in the hope that they will fade on their own. But emotions do not disappear when they are ignored. They remain beneath the surface, waiting to be acknowledged. Allowing yourself to feel does not mean being overwhelmed by your emotions. It means giving them space to exist without judgment. It means recognizing that what you are feeling is valid, that it deserves attention, and that it is part of your healing process. When you allow yourself to feel, you begin to process your experience. You move from avoidance to awareness, from resistance to acceptance. This does not make the pain disappear immediately, but it creates the conditions for healing to begin. Suppressing pain, on the other hand, delays this process. When emotions are pushed aside, they do not resolve. They remain unresolved, often resurfacing in unexpected ways. You may find yourself reacting strongly to situations that seem unrelated, or feeling a sense of unease that you cannot fully explain. This is often the result of emotions that have not been fully processed. Suppressing pain can also create a disconnect between your internal and external experience. On the outside, you may appear to be functioning normally, going through your routines, fulfilling your responsibilities. But internally, there is a tension, a sense that something is unresolved. Over time, this disconnect can become exhausting, making it harder to maintain balance and clarity. Healing requires honesty. It requires you to acknowledge what you are feeling, even when it is uncomfortable. It asks you to sit with your emotions, to understand them, and to allow them to move through you rather than remain stuck within you. This process is not always easy. There may be moments when your emotions feel too intense, when you are tempted to avoid them or to rush through them. But it is important to remember that healing is not about speed. It is about depth. It is about giving yourself the time and space needed to truly process what you have experienced. As you move through this process, you may begin to notice changes. Your emotions may become less overwhelming, more manageable. Your thoughts may become clearer, less chaotic. The sense of disconnection may begin to fade, replaced by a gradual return to presence. This does not mean that the pain is gone, but it means that you are learning to navigate it. You are developing the ability to hold your emotions without being consumed by them. You are building a relationship with yourself that is based on understanding rather than avoidance. This is where strength begins to emerge. Not the kind of strength that ignores pain, but the kind that faces it with honesty and courage. The kind that allows you to feel deeply while still moving forward. Difficult moments will always have an emotional impact. That is part of being human. But within that impact lies an opportunity, not to avoid pain but to grow through it. To understand yourself more deeply, to develop resilience, and to build a foundation of emotional awareness that supports you in every aspect of your life. As you continue your journey, remember that your emotions are not obstacles to overcome. They are part of the path. They are guiding you, even when it does not feel that way. And when you allow yourself to feel, to process, and to heal, you begin to transform your pain into something meaningful. You begin to find your way, even in the moments when you once felt lost. Chapter 3: Why we struggle to trust life. Trusting life sounds simple in theory, but in reality it can feel incredibly difficult. When things are going well, trust comes naturally. It is easy to believe in the flow of life when outcomes are favorable and experiences feel aligned. But when life becomes unpredictable, when things fall apart, or when pain enters without warning, trust begins to feel fragile. You may find yourself questioning everything: your path, your decisions, and even the meaning behind your experiences. This struggle is deeply human. It is rooted in how we are wired to think, to feel, and to protect ourselves. At the center of it lies a powerful desire for control and certainty. As human beings, we naturally seek stability. We want to know what is going to happen, how things will unfold, and whether we are safe in the process. This need for certainty is not a weakness, it is part of how we create structure in our lives. It helps us plan, make decisions, and feel grounded in a world that is constantly changing. Control, in this sense, becomes a tool. It gives us the feeling that we can influence our outcomes, that we can shape our future through our actions. When things go according to plan, this belief is reinforced. It creates a sense of confidence, a feeling that life is something we can manage. But life does not always follow our plans. There are moments when things happen that we cannot control, no matter how prepared we are or how carefully we have planned. These moments challenge our sense of certainty. They remind us that despite our efforts, there are aspects of life that remain unpredictable. When this happens, trust becomes difficult. Not because you are incapable of trusting, but because your sense of control has been disrupted. You are faced with the reality that not everything can be anticipated or managed, and this can feel unsettling. This is where fear begins to emerge. Fear of the unknown, fear of what might happen next, fear of stepping into a future that is unclear. The unknown is one of the most uncomfortable spaces for the human mind, because it lacks definition. There are no guarantees, no clear outcomes, no sense of security. In response to this, the mind often tries to fill in the gaps. It imagines scenarios, predicts outcomes, and attempts to create a sense of control where none exists. But these imagined scenarios are often driven by fear rather than reality. They focus on what could go wrong, amplifying uncertainty rather than easing it. This is why unpredictability can feel so overwhelming. It removes the familiar structures that you rely on, leaving you in a space where you are unsure of what comes next. And in that space, trust can feel like a risk. Past experiences also play a significant role in shaping how you respond to uncertainty. If you have gone through difficult situations before, especially ones that felt sudden or painful, your mind learns from those experiences. It becomes more cautious, more alert, and sometimes more guarded. This is a natural response. Your mind is trying to protect you from future harm. It uses past experiences as a reference point, guiding your reactions in similar situations. But this protection can sometimes become a barrier. When past pain influences your present perspective, it can create a sense of distrust. You may begin to expect negative outcomes, even when they are not certain. You may find it difficult to believe that things can work out, because your past has shown you otherwise. This does not mean you are broken or incapable of trust. It means your experiences have shaped your expectations. And while these expectations are understandable, they are not always accurate reflections of what is possible. Another factor that makes trusting life difficult is the belief that you should always understand everything. There is a strong desire to make sense of your experiences, to find meaning in what happens, and to create a narrative that feels complete. Understanding provides comfort. It gives you a sense of closure, a way to organize your thoughts and emotions. But not everything in life can be immediately understood. Some experiences do not come with clear explanations. Some situations take time to make sense, and some may never fully align with your expectations of logic. When you hold on to the belief that everything must be understood right away, you create additional pressure. You may feel frustrated when answers are not available, or unsettled when clarity does not come as quickly as you would like. This is where the illusion lies. The idea that you should always understand everything is not realistic. Life is complex, and not all aspects of it can be explained in a way that satisfies the mind immediately. There are moments that require patience, reflection, and time before their meaning becomes clear. Learning to sit with uncertainty is one of the most important steps in developing trust. It is not about eliminating uncertainty, but about becoming more comfortable within it. It is about recognizing that not knowing does not mean something is wrong. It simply means that the process is still unfolding. Sitting with uncertainty requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing it as something to fear, you begin to see it as a space of possibility. It is a space where outcomes have not yet been defined, where growth is still taking place, and where new paths can emerge. This shift does not happen instantly. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to let go of the need for immediate answers. It involves trusting that clarity will come, even if it takes time. When you begin to embrace uncertainty, you also begin to release the pressure to control everything. You recognize that while you can influence your actions, you cannot control every outcome. And within that realization, there is a sense of freedom. You are no longer responsible for predicting every possibility or preventing every challenge. You are responsible for showing up, for making thoughtful decisions, and for navigating your experiences with awareness and resilience. Trusting life then becomes less about certainty and more about confidence in your ability to handle what comes. It is not about knowing that everything will go perfectly, but about believing that you will find your way, regardless of the outcome. This kind of trust is built over time. It develops through experience, through facing challenges, and realizing that you are capable of moving through them. It grows as you begin to see that even difficult moments can lead to growth, understanding, and new opportunities. As you continue on your journey, you may still encounter moments of doubt. There will be times when uncertainty feels overwhelming, when fear arises, and when the desire for control becomes strong. These moments are part of the process. But within them, there is also an opportunity. An opportunity to pause, to reflect, and to choose a different response. Instead of resisting uncertainty, you can learn to sit with it. Instead of trying to control every outcome, you can focus on your actions and your mindset. You can remind yourself that not knowing is not a weakness. It is a natural part of life. And within that space of not knowing, there is room for growth, for discovery, and for transformation. Trusting life does not mean you will always feel certain. It means you are willing to move forward, even when you do not have all the answers. It means you are open to the process, even when it is unclear. And in that openness, you begin to find a different kind of strength. Not the strength that comes from control, but the strength that comes from resilience, adaptability, and trust in your own ability to navigate whatever lies ahead. Because life is not something that can be fully controlled or completely understood. It is something that is experienced, one moment at a time. And when you learn to trust that process, even in uncertainty, you begin to move through life with a deeper sense of peace and confidence. Chapter 4: Letting Go of Control. There is a quiet belief that many people carry, often without realizing it. The belief that if you can just manage everything well enough, plan carefully enough, and anticipate every possible outcome, you can avoid pain and create a life that unfolds exactly as you want it to. This belief feels comforting because it gives you a sense of power. It makes you feel like you are in charge, like nothing will catch you off guard if you are just prepared enough. But life has a way of revealing the limits of that control. No matter how carefully you plan, there will be moments that unfold differently than you expected. Situations will arise that you did not anticipate, outcomes will shift, and people will act in ways you cannot predict. These moments can feel unsettling, not only because of what is happening, but because they challenge the belief that you are in control. The truth is, control in life is limited. You can control your actions, your choices, and your responses, but you cannot control everything around you. You cannot control other people's decisions, the timing of events, or the unpredictable nature of life itself. And when you try to extend your control beyond what is possible, it often leads to frustration. Trying to control everything can become exhausting. It creates a constant state of tension, where you feel responsible for outcomes that are not entirely within your power. You may find yourself overthinking, trying to anticipate every possible scenario, or attempting to prevent problems before they even arise. This effort, while well-intentioned, can become overwhelming. The more you try to control, the more you become aware of how much is actually out of your control. This awareness can create anxiety, as you realize that no matter how much effort you put in, there are always variables you cannot account for. This is where suffering begins to increase. Suffering is not only created by what happens to you, but by how you respond to it. When you resist what you cannot control, you create an internal conflict. You are holding on to an expectation that things should be different, even when reality is showing you otherwise. This gap between expectation and reality is where much of the emotional pain comes from. Letting go of control does not mean that you stop caring about your life or your outcomes. It means that you begin to understand where your control ends and where life begins. It means recognizing that while you can influence your path, you cannot dictate every step of it. This distinction between control and influence is important. Control suggests certainty, the ability to determine outcomes with precision. Influence, on the other hand, acknowledges that while your actions matter, they are part of a larger system of factors. When you shift from control to influence, your perspective changes. You focus on what you can do, rather than what you cannot. You invest your energy in your choices, your mindset, and your actions, while accepting that the results may not always unfold exactly as you expect. This shift reduces pressure. You are no longer trying to carry the weight of everything. Instead, you are working within your capacity, doing your best while allowing life to play its part. One of the most challenging aspects of this process is learning to surrender without feeling like you are giving up. Surrender is often misunderstood. It is not about defeat or passivity. It is not about abandoning your goals or accepting less than you deserve. It is about releasing the need to control what cannot be controlled. When you surrender, you are not saying that you do not care. You are saying that you trust the process enough to let go of the constant need to manage every detail. You are choosing to engage with life in a way that is more flexible, more open, and more aligned with reality. Surrender requires courage. It asks you to step into uncertainty without the reassurance of complete control. It asks you to trust that even when things do not go as planned, there is still a path forward. This trust is not always easy, especially if you are used to relying on control as a way to feel safe. But over time, surrender can bring a sense of relief. It frees you from the constant pressure to fix everything. It allows you to breathe, to step back, and to approach your life with a greater sense of ease. This does not mean that you stop taking action. You still make decisions, pursue your goals, and work toward what matters to you. The difference is in how you approach those actions. Instead of being driven by fear of losing control, you are guided by intention and awareness. Finding peace in acceptance is a natural extension of this process. Acceptance is not about liking everything that happens. It is about acknowledging reality as it is, without resistance. It is about seeing things clearly, without trying to force them into a different shape. When you accept a situation, you remove the additional layer of struggle that comes from wishing it were different. You allow yourself to work with what is, rather than fighting against it. This creates a sense of clarity, making it easier to determine your next steps. Acceptance does not mean you stop seeking change. It means you start from a place of honesty. You recognize your current situation fully, and from that understanding you decide how to move forward. This approach is more effective because it is grounded in reality rather than denial. There is a certain peace that comes with acceptance. It is not a passive peace, but an active one. It is the peace that comes from aligning yourself with the truth of your experience, rather than resisting it. It is the peace that allows you to remain steady, even when circumstances are uncertain. As you begin to let go of control, you may notice a shift in how you experience life. There is less tension, less urgency, and less need to constantly manage everything. You begin to trust that you can handle what comes, even if it is not what you expected. This trust is not about certainty. It is about confidence in your ability to adapt, to learn and to grow. It is about knowing that even when things do not go as planned, you are capable of finding your way. Letting go of control is not a one-time decision. It is a practice, one that you return to again and again. There will be moments when the urge to control becomes strong, when uncertainty feels uncomfortable, and when you are tempted to hold on tightly. In those moments, remind yourself of what you have learned. Remember that control has its limits, that trying to manage everything only increases your suffering, and that there is strength in allowing things to unfold. You are not meant to control every aspect of your life. You are meant to experience it, to engage with it, and to grow through it. When you release the need to control, you create space for something deeper, a sense of trust, a sense of peace, and a sense of connection to the flow of life. And in that space, you begin to realize that letting go is not losing control. It is gaining freedom. Chapter 5: Finding Meaning in Painful Experiences. Pain has a way of demanding your attention. It interrupts your routine, shifts your perspective, and forces you to confront parts of life and parts of yourself that you may have never explored otherwise. In the moment, it rarely feels meaningful. It feels heavy, confusing, and at times unbearable. But over time, if you are willing to reflect on it, pain can begin to reveal something deeper. It can become a turning point, a place where transformation quietly begins. This idea can be difficult to accept, especially when the pain is fresh. When you are in the middle of a difficult experience, it is natural to focus on the discomfort, the loss, or the uncertainty. It may feel impossible to imagine that anything good could come from what you are going through. But meaning is not always visible in the moment. It often reveals itself later, through reflection, growth, and the changes that take place within you. Hardship has a unique ability to reshape your understanding of life. It challenges your assumptions, tests your resilience, and invites you to grow in ways that comfort never could. When everything is going well, there is little reason to question your beliefs or to look beyond what is familiar. But when you are faced with difficulty, you are pushed out of that comfort zone. You are asked to adapt, to reflect, and to find new ways of navigating your reality. This is where growth begins. Not because pain is inherently positive, but because it creates conditions that encourage transformation. It forces you to confront what matters, to reevaluate your priorities, and to develop a deeper understanding of yourself and your life. Reframing pain as a teacher is one of the most powerful shifts you can make. It does not mean that you seek out pain or that you pretend it is easy. It means that you recognize its potential to teach you something valuable. It means asking yourself not only why something happened, but what it can show you. Every difficult experience carries within it a lesson, even if that lesson is not immediately clear. It may teach you about your own strength, showing you that you are capable of enduring more than you once believed. It may reveal patterns in your life that need to change, guiding you toward healthier choices or deeper awareness. It may help you develop empathy, allowing you to connect with others in a more meaningful way. These lessons are not always comfortable. In fact, they often come with discomfort, because they require you to face truths that you may have avoided. But within that discomfort lies growth. When you are willing to learn from your experiences, you begin to transform them from something that happened to you into something that contributes to who you are becoming. Discovering purpose through difficult moments is another aspect of this transformation. Purpose does not always come from success or achievement. Sometimes it emerges from the challenges you face and the ways in which you respond to them. When you move through pain with awareness, you begin to see how your experiences can shape your path. You may find that what you have gone through allows you to help others who are facing similar challenges. You may develop insights that guide your decisions, helping you create a life that is more aligned with your values. You may discover a sense of direction that was not clear before, one that is rooted in your experiences and your growth. Purpose is not always something you find immediately. It often unfolds gradually, as you reflect on your journey and begin to understand how your experiences fit into a larger picture. It is not about justifying pain, but about recognizing that it can contribute to something meaningful. There are lessons that only struggle can reveal. Comfort can teach you ease, but it does not always teach you resilience. Success can teach you confidence, but it does not always teach you humility. Pain, however, has a way of reaching deeper. It exposes vulnerabilities, challenges assumptions, and invites you to grow in ways that are not always possible in easier circumstances. Through struggle, you learn patience. You learn that not everything can be resolved immediately, and that some processes require time. You learn acceptance, understanding that there are aspects of life that cannot be changed, but can be navigated with awareness. You learn strength, not the kind that avoids difficulty, but the kind that faces it and continues forward. You also learn about yourself. You discover how you respond to challenges, what your limits are, and how you can expand them. You begin to understand your values more clearly, recognizing what truly matters to you and what does not. These insights are not always comfortable, but they are valuable. Turning pain into personal strength is not about ignoring what you have been through. It is about integrating it into your life in a way that supports your growth. It means allowing your experiences to shape you, but not to define you. It means recognizing that while pain may have been part of your journey, it is not the entirety of your story. Strength develops when you move through pain with awareness and intention. It grows when you face your emotions honestly, when you learn from your experiences, and when you choose to continue forward despite the challenges. This kind of strength is not always visible, but it is deeply rooted. It shows up in your ability to handle future challenges with greater resilience. It appears in your capacity to remain grounded, even when things are uncertain. It is reflected in your ability to support others, drawing from your own experiences to offer understanding and compassion. This transformation does not happen overnight. It is a gradual process, one that unfolds over time. There will be moments when the pain feels overwhelming, when the lessons are not clear, and when growth feels distant. But even in those moments, something is happening beneath the surface. You are processing, learning, and evolving, even if you cannot see it immediately. Each experience, each reflection, each step forward contributes to your growth. And over time, you begin to see the changes. You may notice that you approach situations differently, with more awareness and less reactivity. You may find that you are more patient, more understanding, and more connected to yourself. You may realize that what once felt unbearable has become a source of insight and strength. This does not mean that you are grateful for the pain itself, but that you recognize what it has given you. You see how it has shaped your perspective, deepened your understanding, and contributed to your growth. As you continue your journey, remember that meaning is not always immediate. It takes time to unfold, to become clear, and to integrate into your understanding. Be patient with this process. Allow yourself to reflect, to learn, and to grow at your own pace. Pain is not something you need to rush through or ignore. It is something you can move through with awareness, allowing it to teach you, to shape you, and to strengthen you. When you approach it in this way, you begin to transform it from something that holds you back into something that moves you forward. Within every difficult moment lies the potential for growth. Within every challenge, there is an opportunity to learn. And within every experience of pain, there is the possibility of transformation. You have the ability to turn your pain into strength, not by denying it, but by understanding it. Not by avoiding it, but by learning from it. And in doing so, you create a path that is not only shaped by your experiences, but strengthened by them. Chapter 6: Building Emotional Strength Through Adversity. There is a kind of strength that only reveals itself in difficult moments. It is not the strength you display when everything is going well, when life feels predictable and manageable. It is the strength that emerges when things fall apart, when you are faced with challenges that test your limits, and when you are forced to confront emotions you did not expect. This is emotional strength, and it is not something you are simply born with. It is something you build. Resilience is often misunderstood. Many people think of it as the ability to avoid breaking down, to remain unaffected by hardship, or to push through pain without feeling it. But true resilience is not about being untouched by difficulty. It is about being able to experience it fully, and still find a way to move forward. Resilience is not the absence of struggle. It is the ability to navigate struggle, without losing yourself in the process. It is the capacity to feel deeply, to be affected, and yet to continue growing. It is not about perfection or constant strength. It is about persistence, about returning to yourself again and again, even when things feel uncertain. When you understand resilience in this way, it becomes something more accessible. It is not reserved for a select few. It is something you can develop through your experiences. Every challenge you face, every moment of discomfort, every difficult situation becomes an opportunity to strengthen this part of yourself. Growing stronger through challenges does not mean that the challenges themselves are easy or desirable. It means that within those challenges, there is potential for growth. When you are pushed beyond your comfort zone, you are introduced to new aspects of yourself. You discover how you respond under pressure, how you handle uncertainty, and how you navigate emotional complexity. At first, this can feel overwhelming. You may question your ability to cope, to endure, or to find your way through. But with time, something begins to shift. You start to recognize that you are capable of more than you initially believed. You begin to see that even in your most difficult moments, you are still moving forward. This realization is powerful. It changes how you view yourself. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who is struggling, you begin to see yourself as someone who is growing. You start to trust your ability to handle what comes your way, even if it is not easy. Developing inner stability is a key part of this process. Inner stability is not about having a life that is free from challenges. It is about having a sense of grounding within yourself that remains steady, even when external circumstances are uncertain. This stability comes from understanding your emotions, from learning how to respond rather than react, and from building a relationship with yourself that is based on awareness and acceptance. It is about knowing that while you cannot control everything that happens around you, you can influence how you respond to it. When you develop inner stability, you create a foundation that supports you through difficult times. You are not easily shaken by external events, because you have a sense of strength within. You are able to face challenges with greater clarity, to make decisions with intention, and to remain connected to yourself even when things feel overwhelming. This does not mean that you will never feel uncertain or emotional. It means that those feelings do not define you. They are part of your experience, but they do not control your actions. You have the ability to acknowledge them, to understand them, and to move forward with awareness. Difficult moments have a way of shaping your character. They reveal aspects of yourself that may not be visible in easier times. They challenge your beliefs, your habits, and your ways of thinking. They invite you to grow, to adapt, and to become more aware of who you are. Character is not built in comfort. It is shaped in moments of difficulty, when you are faced with choices that require courage, patience, and integrity. It is developed through the decisions you make when things are not easy, when you are tempted to give up, or when you feel unsure of your path. In these moments, you are not just responding to your circumstances, you are shaping who you are becoming. Each choice, each response, each moment of perseverance contributes to your growth. Over time, these experiences begin to form a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Becoming someone who can endure and rise is not about avoiding pain. It is about learning how to move through it with strength and awareness. It is about developing the ability to face challenges without losing hope, to experience difficulty without losing direction, and to grow through adversity rather than being defined by it. Endurance is not passive. It is active. It involves continuing to show up, even when it is difficult. It means staying committed to your growth, even when progress feels slow. It is the willingness to keep going, not because everything is clear, but because you trust that your efforts matter. Rising, on the other hand, is about transformation. It is about taking what you have learned from your experiences and using it to move forward in a new way. It is about integrating your challenges into your growth, allowing them to shape you without limiting you. This process is not always linear. There will be moments when you feel strong and moments when you feel uncertain. There will be times when you move forward confidently, and times when you need to pause and reflect. This is all part of the journey. What matters is not that you are always strong, but that you continue to return to yourself. That you continue to learn, to grow, and to move forward even when it is difficult. Emotional strength is not something that is built overnight. It is developed through experience, through reflection, and through the willingness to face your challenges with honesty. It requires patience because growth takes time. It requires self-compassion because the process is not always easy. As you continue on your journey, remember that every challenge you face is contributing to your growth. Even when it does not feel like it, even when the progress is not immediately visible, something is happening within you. You are becoming more resilient, more aware, and more capable of handling what life brings. You are developing a strength that is not dependent on external circumstances, but rooted in your ability to navigate them. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when you question your strength, and when you feel overwhelmed. In those moments, remind yourself of what you have already faced. Remember that you have made it through difficult times before, and that you have grown because of them. You are not defined by your challenges. You are defined by how you respond to them. And within that response lies your strength. As you continue to build emotional strength through adversity, you will begin to see yourself differently. Not as someone who is broken by difficulty, but as someone who is shaped by it. Not as someone who is overwhelmed by challenges, but as someone who can endure and rise. This is the strength that comes from within. It is steady, it is resilient, and it is always growing. And it is already within you. Chapter 7: Trusting the Process, Even Without Answers. There are moments in life when clarity feels out of reach. You search for answers, try to make sense of what is happening, and look for signs that will guide you forward. But instead of understanding, you are met with uncertainty. Instead of direction, you are faced with questions that do not yet have answers. These moments can feel deeply uncomfortable, because they challenge your need to know, to understand, and to feel certain about where you are going. Living without immediate clarity is one of the most difficult experiences to navigate. The mind naturally seeks resolution. It wants to connect the dots, to create a narrative that feels complete. When that narrative is missing, it can create a sense of instability. You may feel lost, unsure of your next step, or even disconnected from your sense of purpose. But what if clarity is not meant to come immediately? What if the absence of answers is not a problem, but part of the process? There is a stage in every journey where things are still unfolding, where the full picture has not yet revealed itself. This stage is often overlooked or misunderstood, because it does not provide the reassurance that clarity brings. But it is in this stage that some of the most important growth takes place. When you do not have all the answers, you are invited to develop something deeper than understanding. You are invited to develop trust. Faith in the unseen and unknown is not about believing that everything will go exactly as you hope. It is about believing that even without full visibility, there is still movement, still growth, and still possibility. It is about trusting that just because you cannot see the outcome, does not mean there is no direction. This kind of faith is not always easy. It requires you to step into uncertainty, without the comfort of knowing what lies ahead. It asks you to continue moving forward, even when the path is not clearly defined. It challenges you to rely on something other than immediate evidence. But within this challenge lies an opportunity. When you learn to trust without seeing, you begin to strengthen your ability to navigate life with resilience. You become less dependent on external confirmation, and more connected to your inner sense of direction. Understanding that clarity often comes later is a key part of this process. When you are in the middle of an experience, especially a difficult one, it can be hard to see its purpose. The emotions are still fresh, the circumstances are still unfolding, and the meaning is not yet clear. But with time, perspective begins to shift. What once felt confusing may start to make sense. You may begin to see how certain events led to growth, how challenges shaped your understanding, or how experiences contributed to your journey in ways you could not have predicted. This does not mean that every situation will have a clear or satisfying explanation. But it does mean that meaning often emerges with time. It is something that develops as you reflect, as you grow, and as you gain distance from the experience. When you recognize this, you begin to release the pressure to understand everything immediately. You allow yourself to move through experiences without forcing them into a clear narrative right away. You trust that understanding will come when it is ready, not when you demand it. Letting go of the need for immediate resolution is one of the most liberating steps you can take. The need for resolution often comes from a desire for comfort. When something is unresolved, it creates tension. You may feel unsettled, as though something is incomplete. But not all situations can be resolved quickly. Some require time, patience, and ongoing reflection. When you try to force resolution, you may create answers that are not fully aligned with reality. You may settle for explanations that provide temporary comfort, but do not truly address the depth of your experience. Allowing things to remain unresolved, at least for a time, requires a different kind of strength. It involves sitting with uncertainty, acknowledging that not everything needs to be fixed immediately. It means being present with your experience, even when it feels incomplete. This does not mean you stop seeking understanding or growth. It means you approach them with patience. You give yourself the space to process, to reflect, and to allow clarity to develop naturally. Trust in this context is not a feeling that appears automatically. It is a practice. It is something you choose again and again, even when it feels difficult. There will be moments when trust feels natural, when things seem to align and your path feels clear. But there will also be moments when trust feels like a challenge, when doubt arises and uncertainty feels overwhelming. In these moments, trust becomes a conscious decision. You choose to continue, even without all the answers. You choose to believe that your journey has meaning, even if you cannot fully see it yet. You choose to stay open to the process, rather than closing yourself off because of uncertainty. This practice of trust is built over time. Each time you move forward without complete clarity, you strengthen your ability to do so again. Each time you allow uncertainty without resisting it, you build resilience. Each time you reflect on past experiences and see how clarity eventually emerged, you reinforce your belief in the process. Over time, trust becomes less about certainty and more about confidence in your ability to navigate whatever comes. It is not about knowing that everything will be easy or predictable. It is about knowing that you can handle the unknown, that you can adapt, and that you can grow through your experiences. As you continue on your journey, there will still be moments when you wish for answers, when you seek clarity, and when uncertainty feels uncomfortable. These moments are part of being human. They do not mean that you are failing or that something is wrong. In those moments, remind yourself that you are in the middle of a process. That not everything is meant to be clear right now. That growth is still happening, even if you cannot fully see it. Trusting the process does not require you to have all the answers. It requires you to stay open, to stay present, and to continue moving forward with awareness and intention. You are not meant to understand everything immediately. You are meant to experience, to learn, and to grow. And within that process, clarity will come, not all at once but gradually in ways that align with your journey. Trusting the process, even without answers, is one of the most powerful choices you can make. It allows you to move through life with a sense of calm, even in uncertainty. It gives you the strength to continue, even when the path is not fully visible. And in that trust, you begin to discover something important. You begin to see that not knowing is not a weakness. It is a space where growth happens, where possibilities exist, and where your journey continues to unfold. You do not need all the answers to move forward. You only need the willingness to trust that they will come. Chapter 8: Healing without rushing the process. Healing is one of the most personal and misunderstood journeys you will ever experience. When pain enters your life, there is often an immediate desire to move past it as quickly as possible. You want relief, clarity, and a sense of normalcy to return. You want to feel like yourself again. This desire is natural. It comes from a place of wanting peace, of wanting to regain stability after something has disrupted your emotional world. But healing does not operate on urgency. It does not follow a strict timeline, and it cannot be rushed without consequence. It is a process that unfolds gradually, often in ways that are not immediately visible. And learning to respect that process is one of the most important steps in truly moving forward. Healing takes time because it involves more than just moving on from an experience. It requires you to process what has happened, to understand your emotions, and to integrate the experience into your life in a way that supports your growth. This cannot be done instantly, because your mind and emotions need space to adjust. When something painful occurs, it creates a shift within you. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your sense of self may all be affected. Healing is the process of realigning these aspects, of finding your balance again, and of rebuilding your sense of stability. This is not something that can be forced. It happens step by step, often in ways that you may not fully notice at first. There may be days when you feel like you are making progress, when your emotions feel lighter and your perspective feels clearer. And there may be days when the pain resurfaces, when you feel as though you are back where you started. This does not mean that you are not healing. It means that healing is not linear. Growth rarely follows a straight path. It moves in cycles, with moments of clarity followed by moments of reflection. Each phase contributes to your overall progress, even if it does not feel that way in the moment. Understanding this can help you approach healing with greater patience, allowing you to move through it without unnecessary pressure. One of the biggest challenges in healing is the temptation to force recovery. You may feel pressure to move on quickly, to appear strong, or to return to your previous state as soon as possible. This pressure can come from within, or it can be influenced by others who may not fully understand your experience. Forcing recovery often involves suppressing emotions, avoiding difficult thoughts, or pushing yourself to act as though everything is fine. While this may create a temporary sense of control, it does not address the underlying experience. The emotions remain, even if they are not immediately visible. When healing is rushed, it becomes incomplete. You may find that unresolved feelings resurface later, often in unexpected ways. This can create a cycle where you feel as though you are moving forward, only to be pulled back by emotions that were never fully processed. True healing requires honesty. It asks you to acknowledge what you are feeling, even when it is uncomfortable. It invites you to sit with your emotions, to understand them, and to allow them to move through you at their own pace. Allowing emotions to unfold naturally is a key part of this process. Emotions are not problems to be solved, they are experiences to be felt. Each emotion carries information about your inner state, reflecting your thoughts, your experiences, and your responses to what has happened. When you allow your emotions to unfold, you give yourself the opportunity to process them fully. You move from resistance to acceptance, from avoidance to awareness. This does not mean that you become overwhelmed by your emotions, but that you create space for them without judgment. There will be moments when your emotions feel intense, when they seem difficult to manage. In these moments, it is important to remember that emotions are temporary. They rise, they peak, and they eventually settle. When you allow them to move through you, rather than pushing them away, you create the conditions for healing to occur. This process requires patience, because it does not happen instantly. It requires trust, because you may not always see immediate results. But over time, you will begin to notice changes. Your emotions may become less overwhelming, your thoughts may become clearer, and your sense of self may begin to feel more grounded. Self-compassion plays a crucial role in healing. It is the ability to treat yourself with kindness and understanding, especially during difficult periods. When you are going through pain, it is easy to become critical of yourself. You may feel that you should be stronger, that you should be handling things better, or that you should have moved on by now. But healing is not a measure of strength in the way you might think. It is not about how quickly you recover, but about how deeply you process and grow. Being compassionate with yourself means recognizing that you are doing the best you can with what you have. It means allowing yourself to feel without judgment, and to move through your experience at a pace that is right for you. Self-compassion also involves acknowledging your progress, even when it feels small. Healing is often made up of subtle changes, moments of clarity, shifts in perspective, and gradual improvements in how you feel. These changes may not always be dramatic, but they are significant. By being compassionate with yourself, you create a supportive internal environment. You reduce the pressure to rush, and you allow yourself to heal in a way that is sustainable. You begin to trust your process even when it feels slow. Honoring your personal pace of healing is one of the most empowering choices you can make. It means recognizing that your journey is unique, and that it does not need to match anyone else's timeline. It means letting go of comparisons, and focusing on what you need in order to move forward. There is no standard time frame for healing. Some experiences may take longer to process than others, and that is okay. What matters is not how quickly you heal, but how fully you allow yourself to heal. When you honor your pace, you create space for genuine growth. You are not rushing through your emotions or skipping important steps. You are allowing yourself to fully experience, process, and integrate what has happened. This approach leads to deeper healing. It allows you to move forward with greater understanding, greater resilience, and a stronger sense of self. It ensures that your healing is not just temporary, but lasting. As you continue on your journey, there may still be moments when you feel impatient, when you wish that things were different, or when you want to move forward more quickly. These moments are natural. But within them, there is an opportunity to return to your intention. Remind yourself that healing is not a race. It is a process. It is something that unfolds over time, shaped by your experiences, your reflections, and your willingness to grow. You do not need to rush your healing to make it valid. You do not need to meet any external expectations. What matters is that you are moving forward, even if it is slowly. What matters is that you are allowing yourself to feel, to learn, and to grow. Healing is not about returning to who you were before. It is about becoming someone new, someone who has faced difficulty, who has learned from it, and who has developed strength and understanding through the process. And that transformation takes time. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle with your process. Trust that each step, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to a place of peace, clarity, and strength. Because healing, when allowed to unfold naturally, does not just restore you. It reshapes you in ways that are deeper, stronger, and more aligned with who you are meant to become. Chapter 9: Finding Peace in the Present Moment. When life becomes difficult, the mind often travels in two directions. It moves backward, replaying what has already happened, searching for answers, revisiting memories, and trying to understand where things went wrong. At the same time, it moves forward, imagining what might come next, worrying about outcomes, and anticipating uncertainty. In both directions, the mind leaves the present moment. And yet, it is only in the present moment where peace can truly exist. Pain has a way of pulling you out of the now. It makes you dwell on what was or fear what could be. It creates a sense of restlessness, as though something needs to be solved immediately. But the more your mind moves away from the present, the more overwhelming everything can feel. You become caught between past and future, carrying both regret and anxiety at the same time. Finding peace during pain is not about changing your circumstances instantly. It is about learning how to return to the present moment, even when things are difficult. It is about discovering that within the now, there is a space where you can breathe, where you can ground yourself, and where you can find a sense of calm, even if it is temporary. The power of presence lies in its simplicity. When you are fully present, you are not trying to fix everything at once. You are not carrying the entire weight of your situation. You are simply being with what is in front of you, one moment at a time. This does not remove the pain, but it makes it more manageable. Instead of facing an overwhelming future or a painful past, you focus on the current moment. You bring your attention to what you can see, what you can feel, what you can control right now. This shift may seem small, but it is powerful. It reduces the intensity of your experience by narrowing your focus to what is immediate and real. One of the biggest barriers to presence during difficult times is the question that often arises: why me? This question is natural. It comes from a desire to understand, to make sense of something that feels unfair or confusing. But this question can also keep you stuck. When you focus on why me, your mind searches for answers that may not be available. It circles around the same thoughts, trying to find meaning in a way that satisfies your need for clarity. But often, this leads to frustration rather than resolution. The more you ask, the more you may feel like there are no answers that fully explain your experience. Letting go of this question does not mean you stop seeking understanding. It means you shift your focus from something that may not be immediately answerable to something that is within your reach. Instead of asking why, you begin to ask how. How can I move through this moment? How can I take care of myself right now? How can I respond in a way that supports my well-being? This shift moves you from resistance to engagement. It allows you to work with your experience rather than against it. It brings you back to the present, where your actions can have an immediate impact. Grounding yourself in the now is a practice. It is not something that happens automatically, especially when you are dealing with strong emotions. It requires intention and awareness. It involves bringing your attention back to your body, your breath, and your immediate surroundings. Your breath is one of the most powerful tools you have. It is always with you, and it connects you directly to the present moment. When you focus on your breathing, you create a point of stability. You slow down your mind, reduce tension in your body, and create space between your thoughts and your reactions. Even a few moments of conscious breathing can make a difference. It can help you step out of the cycle of overthinking and into a state of awareness. It can remind you that in this moment, you are here, you are present, and you are capable of handling what is in front of you. Grounding also involves engaging with your senses. Noticing what you can see, hear, and feel can bring you back to the present. It shifts your focus away from abstract thoughts and into tangible experiences. This can create a sense of connection, helping you feel more anchored and less overwhelmed. Within even the most difficult moments, there are small pockets of peace. They may not be obvious at first, especially when you are focused on the pain. But they are there, waiting to be noticed. It could be a quiet moment in your day, a brief pause where you feel a sense of stillness. It could be the comfort of a familiar place, the sound of something calming, or the feeling of being supported, even in a small way. These moments may seem insignificant, but they are important. They remind you that even within chaos, there is space for calm. That even within pain, there are moments where you can rest. These moments do not erase the difficulty, but they provide balance. They give you something to hold on to, something that grounds you in the present. Learning to notice and appreciate these moments is part of the process. It requires you to shift your attention, to look beyond the overwhelming aspects of your experience, and to recognize what is still steady, what is still supportive, and what is still present. This does not mean ignoring your pain. It means allowing yourself to experience both, the difficulty and the moments of peace. It is about creating a more balanced perspective, one that acknowledges the full range of your experience. Breathing through hardship is not just a metaphor. It is a practical approach to navigating difficult moments. When things feel overwhelming, your breath can become shallow, your body tense, and your mind reactive. By consciously returning to your breath, you create a sense of calm within your body. This calm does not solve everything, but it changes how you experience the moment. It gives you a sense of control, not over your circumstances but over your response. It allows you to approach your situation with greater clarity and less intensity. Over time, this practice becomes a habit. You begin to notice when you are becoming overwhelmed, and you know how to return to your breath, to your body, and to the present moment. This awareness becomes a source of strength, helping you navigate difficult situations with greater ease. Finding peace in the present moment is not about eliminating pain. It is about changing your relationship with it. It is about learning to be with your experience, rather than being consumed by it. It is about recognizing that while you cannot always control what happens, you can influence how you engage with it. As you continue on your journey, there will still be moments when your mind drifts, when you feel overwhelmed, and when the present moment feels difficult to access. This is natural. The practice is not about perfection, but about returning. Each time you bring yourself back to the present, you strengthen your ability to do so again. Each time you focus on your breath, you create a sense of stability. Each time you notice a moment of peace, you remind yourself that it is still available, even in difficult times. Peace is not something that only exists when everything is perfect. It is something that can be found within the present moment, even when life is challenging. It is quiet, subtle, and often overlooked, but it is always there. And when you learn to return to it, again and again, you begin to move through life with a different kind of awareness. One that allows you to face difficulty without losing yourself. One that helps you remain grounded, even when everything around you feels uncertain. In the present moment, you may not have all the answers. You may not have everything figured out. But you have this moment. And within it, you have the ability to breathe, to be, and to find a sense of peace that carries you forward. Chapter 10: Rebuilding Yourself After Pain. There comes a point after pain where something within you begins to shift. It may not be sudden or dramatic. It may come quietly, almost unnoticed at first. But it is there, a subtle realization that you are still here, still standing, still capable of moving forward. After everything you have been through, there is a part of you that is ready to rebuild. Rebuilding yourself after pain is not about returning to who you were before. That version of you existed in a different chapter, shaped by different circumstances and experiences. Pain changes you. It deepens your awareness, reshapes your perspective, and reveals parts of yourself you may not have known before. Trying to go back to who you were can create frustration, because that version of you no longer fits who you have become. Instead, rebuilding is about moving forward without forgetting. It is about carrying your experiences with you, not as burdens but as part of your story. Forgetting is not the goal. Your experiences, even the painful ones, have shaped your understanding, your strength, and your growth. They are part of what has brought you to this moment. Moving forward without forgetting means integrating your experiences into your life in a way that supports you. It means acknowledging what you have been through, honoring it, and allowing it to contribute to who you are becoming. You do not need to erase your past to create a meaningful future. You can carry it with you, in a way that empowers rather than limits you. This process often involves redefining yourself. Pain can challenge your sense of identity. It can make you question who you are, what you believe, and what matters to you. The person you were before may feel distant, and you may find yourself in a space of uncertainty, unsure of how to define yourself moving forward. While this uncertainty can feel uncomfortable, it also holds possibility. It is an opportunity to redefine yourself in a way that is more aligned with your experiences, your growth, and your values. You are not confined to who you were. You have the ability to evolve, to reshape your identity, and to create a version of yourself that reflects your journey. Redefining yourself is not about becoming someone entirely different. It is about becoming more of who you truly are. It is about letting go of aspects that no longer serve you, and embracing those that have been strengthened through your experiences. It is about understanding yourself on a deeper level, and allowing that understanding to guide your path. As you begin to redefine yourself, you may also find yourself searching for a new sense of purpose. Pain has a way of shifting your priorities. What once felt important may no longer hold the same meaning. What once seemed certain may now feel unclear. This can create a sense of disorientation, but it can also open the door to something new. Purpose is not always something you find immediately. It often emerges through reflection, through exploration, and through the willingness to engage with your life in a new way. Your experiences, especially the difficult ones, can provide insight into what matters most to you. They can guide you toward paths that are more meaningful, more authentic, and more aligned with who you have become. Creating a new sense of purpose does not require you to have everything figured out. It begins with small steps. It involves paying attention to what resonates with you, what brings you a sense of fulfillment, and what aligns with your values. Over time, these small steps begin to form a direction. You may find purpose in helping others, in sharing your experiences, or in pursuing something that reflects your growth. You may discover that what you have been through has given you a perspective that can be meaningful to others. Your pain, while difficult, can become a source of connection, understanding, and even inspiration. Carrying strength, not just scars, is one of the most powerful aspects of rebuilding. Pain leaves marks. It changes you, and those changes are part of your story. But those marks do not have to define you in a limiting way. They can also represent your strength, your resilience, and your ability to endure. Scars are often seen as reminders of what has been lost or what has been difficult. But they are also evidence of healing. They show that something has been faced, processed, and moved through. They are not signs of weakness, but of survival. When you carry strength, you shift your focus from what has been taken from you to what has been built within you. You recognize that while pain may have changed your life, it has also contributed to your growth. It has given you insight, resilience, and a deeper understanding of yourself. This does not mean that you ignore the difficulty of your experiences. It means that you allow those experiences to coexist with your strength. You acknowledge both, understanding that they are part of the same journey. As you continue to rebuild, you will find that you are not starting from nothing. You are starting from experience. You are starting from a place of deeper awareness, greater resilience, and a stronger connection to yourself. This foundation is different from where you began, but it is not weaker. In many ways, it is stronger. Embracing a new chapter of life requires courage. It means stepping forward into something that is not yet fully defined. It means leaving behind what is familiar, even if it no longer serves you, and opening yourself to what is possible. This can feel uncertain, especially after experiencing pain. You may feel hesitant, unsure of what lies ahead or how things will unfold. But within this uncertainty lies opportunity. It is a space where you can create, explore, and shape your path in a way that reflects who you are now. A new chapter does not erase the previous ones. It builds upon them. It carries forward the lessons, the growth, and the strength that you have developed. It allows you to move forward with a deeper understanding of yourself and your life. As you step into this new chapter, remember that you do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need to know exactly where you are going. What matters is that you are willing to move forward, to engage with your life, and to trust that your experiences have prepared you for what comes next. Rebuilding yourself after pain is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about showing up, even when things feel uncertain. It is about allowing yourself to grow, to evolve, and to create a life that reflects your journey. You are not defined by what has happened to you. You are defined by how you respond to it, how you grow from it, and how you move forward. Within you is the ability to rebuild, to redefine, and to create something meaningful from your experiences. This ability is not something you need to find. It is something that has been developing within you all along. As you embrace this new chapter, carry with you the understanding that your journey is still unfolding, that your story is still being written, and that within every step forward, there is the potential for growth, for purpose, and for a life that reflects the strength you have built. You have been through pain, but you are not broken. You are becoming. Conclusion: trusting life again. There is something profound that happens when you reach the other side of pain. Not necessarily the complete end of it, but the point where it no longer defines every moment of your experience. It is a quiet realization, a subtle shift within you that says, I made it through. Not perfectly, not without struggle, but with resilience, with courage, and with a strength that you may not have known you possessed. When you look back on your journey, you begin to see it differently. What once felt overwhelming may now carry a different meaning. The moments that once broke you may now reveal how they shaped you. You begin to understand that pain was not just something you endured, but something that contributed to who you have become. This reflection is not about glorifying your struggles or pretending that they were easy. It is about recognizing the transformation that has taken place within you. It is about acknowledging that even in your most difficult moments, you continued. You felt, you processed, you learned, and you grew. There is strength in that. A strength that is not loud or obvious, but steady and deeply rooted. A strength that comes from experience, from having faced uncertainty and finding your way through it. This strength becomes part of you, shaping how you approach life, how you respond to challenges, and how you see yourself. As you reflect on your journey from pain to strength, you may begin to notice how your perspective has changed. You may see life with greater depth, understanding that it is not defined by only the good moments, but by the full range of experiences it offers. You may find that you are more compassionate, not only toward others but toward yourself. You may feel a deeper connection to what truly matters, having seen how quickly things can change. This shift in perspective is one of the most meaningful outcomes of your journey. It allows you to move forward with a sense of awareness that was not there before. It helps you navigate life with greater intention, choosing what aligns with your values and letting go of what does not. Reaffirming that life can still be meaningful after pain is an important step in this process. When you go through difficult experiences, it can sometimes feel as though meaning has been lost. You may question the purpose of what you have been through, or wonder how to move forward in a way that feels fulfilling. But meaning is not something that disappears permanently. It is something that can be rediscovered, reshaped, and redefined. Your experiences, even the painful ones, have added depth to your understanding of life. They have given you insight, resilience, and a perspective that can guide you in new ways. Life does not have to return to what it was in order to be meaningful. It can become something new, something different, something that reflects who you are now. Meaning is not found in avoiding pain, but in how you integrate your experiences and allow them to contribute to your growth. Trusting life again after pain can feel like a challenge. When you have been hurt, when things have not gone as expected, it is natural to feel cautious. You may find it difficult to open yourself up fully, to believe that things can unfold in a positive way. But trust is not about certainty. It is about willingness. It is about choosing to engage with life, even when you do not have all the answers. It is about allowing yourself to move forward, even when there is still some fear or hesitation. Encouragement to trust the unfolding process is not about ignoring your past experiences. It is about understanding that your journey is ongoing. What you have been through is part of your story, but it is not the end of it. There are still moments ahead, still experiences to be had, still opportunities for growth and connection. The process of life is not always clear or predictable. There will be moments when things make sense, and moments when they do not. There will be times when you feel aligned, and times when you feel uncertain. This is part of the nature of life. Accepting that not everything will make sense is a powerful step toward peace. It releases you from the need to understand every detail, to find explanations for everything that happens. It allows you to move through life with a sense of openness, rather than resistance. This acceptance does not mean you stop seeking understanding or growth. It means you recognize that some aspects of life are beyond immediate comprehension. It means you allow yourself to experience life as it unfolds, trusting that meaning will emerge in its own time. When you let go of the need for everything to make sense, you create space for trust. You begin to see that life is not always about having clear answers, but about navigating the journey with awareness and resilience. You become more comfortable with uncertainty, knowing that it is part of the process. Trusting life again does not mean you will never experience pain. It means you approach your experiences with a different perspective. You understand that pain, while difficult, is not the end of your story. It is part of a larger journey that includes growth, transformation, and new possibilities. You begin to see that even in your most challenging moments, there is movement. There is change. There is the potential for something new to emerge. This does not erase the difficulty, but it gives it context. It allows you to hold both the pain and the possibility at the same time. The final message of this journey is simple yet profound. Even in pain, life is still leading you somewhere. You may not always know where that place is. You may not always see the path clearly. But your experiences are not random. They are shaping you, guiding you, and contributing to your growth in ways that may not yet be visible. Life is not standing still, even when it feels that way. It is unfolding moment by moment, carrying you forward. And within that movement, there is opportunity. Opportunity to learn, to grow, to connect, and to create a life that reflects your journey. As you move forward, carry this understanding with you. Trust that your experiences have meaning, even if it is not immediately clear. Trust that your strength is real, even if it feels quiet. Trust that your journey is still unfolding, even when it feels uncertain. You have faced pain, and you have grown through it. You have navigated difficulty, and you have found your way forward. This is not the end of your story. It is a continuation, a new chapter shaped by everything you have learned. Trust life again, not because it will always be easy, but because you are capable of meeting it with strength, with awareness, and with resilience. And wherever your path leads next, know this: you are not lost. You are on your way. Thank you for reading this book. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave us a review. TM Light. Disclaimer. This book was created with the assistance of artificial intelligence. While every effort was made to ensure the accuracy and relevance of the content, readers should note that this cannot be considered professional advice. Readers are encouraged to apply their own judgment and consult experts where needed.